Hi, sir. My name is MOhd Azim, and today I'm going to talk about the Renaissance artist Raphael. So, Raphael's biography. Raphael is Raphael Sanzio da Urbino, also known as Raphael, was born in 6th of April, 1483, Urbino, Italy. He was known for his early paintings and architecture. He died April 6, 1520, the year 1520 in Rome, Italy. So Raphael's early period. In 1494, when Raphael was just 11 years old, Giovanni died. Raphael took over the daunting task of managing his father's workshop. His success in his role quickly surpassed his father's. Raphael was soon considered one of the finest painters in town. As a teen, he was even commissioned to paint for the Church of the San Nicola in the neighboring town of Castello. In the year 1500, a master painter named Pietro Vannucci, otherwise known as Perugino, invited Raphael to become his apprentice in Perugia. In the Umbria region of central Italy, in Perugia, Perugino was working on frescoes at the Collegio del Cambia. The apprenticeship lasted 4 years and provided Raphael with the opportunity to gain both knowledge and hands-on experience. During this period, Raphael developed his own unique painting style and exhibited in the religious work in the Mon Crucifixion, the Three Graces, the Knight's Dream, and the Audi altarpiece, Marriage of the Virgin, completed in 1504. So as for the Raphael's Rome period, Raphael was called to Rome towards end of 1504, the year 1504, by Pope Julius II, at the suggestion of the architect Donato Bramante. At this time, Raphael was little known in Rome, but the young man soon made a deep impression on the volatile Julius and the papal court, and his authority as a master grew day by day. Raphael was endowed with a handsome appearance and great personal charm in addition to his prodigious artistic talents, and he eventually became so popular that he was called the Prince of Painters. Raphael spent the last 12 years of his short life in Rome. They were years of feverish activities and successive masterpieces. His first task in the city was to paint a cycle of fresco in a suite of medium-sized room in the Vatican papal apartments in which Julius himself lived and worked. These rooms are known simply as the stands della Segnatura and stands al di Doro were decorated practically entirely by Raphael himself. The fresco in the stanza del Incendio, through design by Raphael, were largely executed by his numerous assistants and pupils. So the decoration of stanza del Segnatura was perhaps Raphael's greatest work. Julius II was a highly cultured man who surrounded himself with the most illustrious personalities of the Renaissance. He entrusted Brandmate with the construction of the new Basilica of St. Peter to replace the original 4th century church. He called upon Michelangelo to execute this tomb and compelled him against his will to decorate the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. And sensing the genius of Raphael, he committed into his hands and the interpretation of the philosophical scheme of the frescoes in the stanza della Signatura. This theme was the historical justification of the power of the Roman Catholic Church through Neapolitanic philosophies. So, Raphael's paintings, The Marriage of the Virgin. This painting shows the marriage between Mary and Joseph as Joseph placed the ring on Mary's finger. One of the two disappointed competing suitors is shown breaking his staff. Joseph's staff, however, is flowering. symbolizing the belief that the suitors carried wooden staff, yet only the chosen grooms would bloom. A temple, a temple is seen in the background, created in the style of architect Brandmid. The use of vibrant colors and the emotional expressions of the figures add a graceful demeanor to the painting, which emanates a sense of divine blessing of the sense rather than a mere happy temporal celebration, and the disputation of the Holy Sacrament. This fresco in the stanza della Sanctura, one of the four Raphael's room in the Apostolic Palace in the Vatican, is one of the four paintings in the room which depict separately philosophy, poetry, theology, and law. The disputation of the Holy Sacrament represents the theology and and shows the occupants of the Catholic Church underneath the span of heaven above their sacred altar. The fresco represents Christianity's victory over philosophy, which is depicted in the School of Athens, the fresco of the opposite wall. And the School of Athens. This fresco also in the stanza della Signatura is on the wall opposite of fresco showing the distribution of the Holy Sacrament. Although called the School of Athens, the title refers to philosophers from the classical world rather than any particular school of philosophy. The gesture of the philosopher depicted in the fresco have been subject to considerable academic interpretation and debate. However, it is not clear how much of their philosophy Raphael would have been familiar with. What is important is the way in which Raphael has gathered all the most famous of the classical philosophers within a marvelous resonance building, the architecture of which points to Brandmid's design for the new St. Peter's Basilica. Sistine Madonna. The painting shows that Madonna and Child in the center with Saint Sixtus and Saint Barbara kneeling on either side of them. Saint Barbara was included in the painting as her relics were worshipped in the church. Saint Sixtus intercedes on the viewer's behalf, which is indicated by the right hand pointing down to us as he gazed up towards the Madonna. The two cherubs at the bottom of the painting looks up at them without reverencing of the saints or the solemnity of the Virgin or the innocence of the baby Jesus. On the bottom left of the painting is the papal crown of Pope Sixtus. The Triumph of Galata. This fresco depicts of the story of Galata, the daughter of the sea god Nereus, who had fallen in love with Assis, a shepherd. A story goes with the Polyphemus, the Cyclops and son of Poseidon, loved Galata, and when he caught her and he beloved Assis in embrace, he killed him in a jealous rage. In the center, we see Galata riding in the sea on a conch shell chariot drawn by two dolphins. Trying to flee, mythical sea creatures, nymphs, and flying putti surround the heroine in this dramatic escape. So, Raphael's architecture work. St. Peter's Basilica. This is a handiwork of a famous artist by the name Raphael. His paintings are high-end and his work is evident at St. Peter's Basilica. The iconic church is situated on the tomb of St. Peter's, one who was an apostle of Jesus Christ. The church was designed to mimic the early Constantinian church. Its architectural work combines the old and the new state of art. This has made St. Peter's Basilica to be not only church but also a tourist attraction site. The concrete used to building the church was that of the 16th century. This concrete is so strong such that can withstand earthquakes. The travertine stone is held by seven rings, which are internal. These rings help to grindle the structures, making it even more stronger. And Saint Eligo degli Orefici. He was a painter and architect who works still ranked as among the best in the world. While designing this building, Raphael went for grandeur, beauty, and perfection. Up to this day, the building is a tourist site as its pillars and architectural designs are a thing of wonder. Raphael's love for geometry and math played a vital role in the designing of the San Eligio degli Orefici. The building is a perfect combination of math and symmetry, showcasing Raphael's mastery of technical and architectural analysis. The edges of the building are multidimensional, giving a viewer an ideal glimpse of its magnificence from any angle. And Villa Madama. Villa Madama is a famous rural villa built during the Italian Renaissance. Even though it is incomplete, the villa, together with its loggia plus segmented column garden court, as well as its casino with the terraced gardens and open center, was very influential for subsequent high resonance architect. The reign pontiff, Cardinal Giulio de' Medici, commissioned the original design of Villa Madama from Raphael. In 1520, Raphael died when he was 37 years old. At this time, work at this villa was far from being completed. The construction began in the year 1518 and was passed on to Raphael's disciples, who were one of the most ingenious team ever constructed a site. However, without Raphael present to smooth out over the disagreements, they always quarreled. Antonio da, Antonio da Gallo produced the final plans of the villa. He supervised the actual construction as well. The person responsible for which design still remains unclear. And Palazzo Vidoni Caffarelli. Standing majestically at the city center of Rome, Palazzo Vidoni Caffarelli cuts the picture of a 16th century Renaissance architecture built between the year 1515 and 1536. Originally, it was built for Bernardo Caffarelli, who came from one of the most prominent and wealthiest family in San Eustachio at the time. This magnificent building in the Corso Vittorio Emanuele II has a facade with 7 bays, while its ground floor features of rustic foundations. The base features dark tuff and which runs horizontally to give the building a classical Renaissance look. Currently, the Palazzo Vondini Caffarelli is a state property hosting the Minister of Public Administration. It used to be the private residence of Cardinal Vendoni. Vendoni enlarged this building to match his preferences before the building became property of Giustani Bandini. The building was later to become home to the Germany embassy, which is served that particular purpose for the better part of the 20th century. And Palazzo Jacopo da Brescia. Palazzo Jacopo da Brescia is a well-known Renaissance royal residence in Rome, which was situated in the Borgo Regno region. It was propelled by the neighboring and now destroyed Palazzo Caprini by the famous Dante Bramante. The upper floors of the palace are one of the most important precedents in the Rome of the utilization of the drape of the undercover block. For the situation combined with the magma stone in the ancient building, The tight area on Borgo Sant'Angelo was originally explained by Raphael using a sirloin window, which he was the primary architect, and Palazzo Pandolfini. The Palazzo Pandolfini is considered one of the most beautiful buildings to be constructed in Florence during the late Renaissance period. Its location is at Via San Gallo at the center of town. It overlooks the Salvestrina and Via Conver garden entrance. The Palazzo Pandolfini drawing was done between the 1746 and 1750 by Raphael Sanzio. The construction of the building began in 1516 under the supervision of Giovanni Francesco da Saglio. Raphael could not supervise the building on his own because he was held in Rome. The initial owner of the building died in 1525 before the building was finished. Saglio also died in several years later after 1530, and his brother Bastiano da Saglio was also known as Aristotle finished the construction. Okay, for the next one, the real cause of Raphael's death. So Raphael's reputation for having a wild sex life has long fed myths that the Renaissance artist died of syphilis in 1520 at the age 37. But 400 years after his death, medical researchers have finally put that tall tale to rest. According to an article that appeared this week in Internal and Emergency Medicine, a journal published by the Italian Society of the Internal Medicine, the painter likely died the painter likely died from a pulmonary disease. The researchers at the University of Milano Bicocca who authored the report says that the illness was wrongly identified by the physicians, who treated the fever-ridden Raphael by bloodletting with incisions or leeches, a process that likely sped up his death rather than aiding his recovery. And famous quote by Raphael. Raphael once said that when one is painting, one does not think. Thank you for today, sir. This is the end of slide. Thank you for your time.